I could see there being concerns about this, the security of this, having something so big on just sharing it with everybody, how the safety concerns of, say, somebody from England comes on and on their Facebook and shares their information with somebody across the world. They have security concerns, of course, and how would you address that?
Well, what we've done is just we've replicated Facebook on the TV. So in other words, it's not like anybody can go in and access this. This is your own personal profile, and you have to have a password with it. So, you know, generally speaking, you've gone in and you've turned it on, and it doesn't time out. So you have to. It's not like you necessarily can provide access to anybody anywhere through your Optik TV account. It's an individual user account and an individual password.
What happens when you have multiple people or multiple users?
So what you can do, let me just log out.
Is there a Facebook button on the controller now?
No, there isn't. But it's a good idea.
Especially for like, I think for like the older generation, they want to be able to get internet.
One-touch access.
Very, very simply.
Yeah. So this is what it looks like. You can register a number of different Facebook users in the same house, so everybody has their profile. And after you've actually gone through the setup process, which, you know, again, it involves you going onto the facebook.com website. So it has all your security access that you would expect with access to your personal Facebook account. So you go in, and I've got my profile right there, and when I choose that, I have to log in using my own unique Optik TV Facebook password. And that's a pretty secure password in that if you try to, and if you enter the password wrong 3 times, then it locks you out, and you have to go through the security protocols to be able to get it set up again. So it's not like you can sit there and hammer on those passwords forever. The other thing is that there are of course like a lot of admin type passwords out there. So we've safeguarded in terms of preventing that kind of simple password from being used in the setup process.
Is there like an administrator user of all the users?
No.
So a parent can't block or get access to their child's Facebook?
They cannot.
Okay.
Of course, if you're a 15-year-old, don't want mom to see
Yeah.
it. Don't put it on the TV.
I can just see 15-year-olds doing some security checks first before they use it.
Is there a way to automatically log on when you come on instead of having to go through this process?
There is not. We thought about it, but thought that, you know what, that probably leaves people maybe a bit vulnerable there, so we decided not to do that.
Yeah, I was just thinking because on the normal computer, you sign or you go to facebook.com, you can have it so it automatically signs you in.
Yeah, computers can, I mean, they can be communal devices, but oftentimes, of course, they're personal devices. Whereas, of course, the TV, like unless you live alone, it's inherently a communal device.
Did this require like a lot of participation with Facebook directly to incorporate this?
Well, what I should say, of course, this is built on top of Microsoft Media Room, and it's built in their presentation framework environment. So Microsoft enables the development environment, and we worked with a third-party company who was building this application, and they actually built the application with some of our input, and they're going to be providing it to other Microsoft Media Room operators. So you can expect in time folks like AT&T, probably Bell Canada, with their 5 launch back east. I think that they'll introduce the Facebook application in time, but we are the first in Canada. I think Verizon's actually the only other traditional TV operator that offers Facebook on their TV platform today.
What about like YouTube? Will there ever be anything like that in the future? Because like devices like the Boxy Box will allow YouTube.
Certainly. So it's certainly something we'd like to do, but it requires fairly close collaboration actually with Google and YouTube. The reason being is it's just some format considerations and some API stability that you have to have for them. So until we can get Google or YouTube to commit to that, we probably won't be able to do it. But there have been a couple of TV operators that have been successful in doing that. So I think you can expect that we'll try and figure out a way to do that over time too. Because by all means, we'd like to be able to provide, you know, those kind of key convergence opportunities where there are some things that the TV does better, as is the message on Facebook. That's what we'd like to do with bringing kind of key web use cases to the TV.
How about Twitter?
Absolutely, we'd like to do that.
That would have a lot of, like, I just see, especially with like the NHL, they're all getting onto Twitter.
Yeah.
So I'm envisioning hockey games with Twitter stream and people with all their friends and you know,
Yeah.
being really engaged, like a two-way engagement kind of with the television set instead of just receiving information and participating.
Well, this is, you know, we're getting kind of more into, you know, bridging off of Facebook here, which is one of our it is our first social media application that we've launched on the IPTV platform. But that is, again, one of the inherent advantages of an IPTV platform is that, you know, by virtue of the fact you're IP connected, you can do a lot of these things. So, you know, are we thinking and looking at doing Twitter? I think that's a pretty good bet. And are we also looking at doing other things that allow, you know, or create better communities, you know, amongst people that have Optik TV in different ways to be able to interact and do so around, you know, content, be it user-generated content, photos, videos, or even just the content that we provide? Yes, we're absolutely looking at doing that. And how you bridge from Optik TV to another Optik TV subscriber back to web applications, you know, including right up to my mobile. I think you've all seen the iPad RDVR application. We'll think about where we could go next. Think about me standing here today, and instead of doing triple tap on my remote control to do post, what if I decided I wanted to do entry from here, or shake it to change the channel, or, you know, navigate on here and buy, select, change from my tablet or my smartphone.
So like an Optik TV app, controller app.
You could envision things like that happening. Yes.
It's already, yeah, well, it's already here, or like, again, the Boxy Box.
Yeah.
You can just take your iPhone, download their app, and then control it from there.
Yeah.
Which is, I can just see everything. Now, we got our phones are now controllers too, right?
Yeah.
Turning our lights off in our house.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that's the conversion strategy,
Yeah.
right? That is the embodiment of it. It's not hyperbole anymore. It's here. It's where we're starting to bring the web to the TV, and we're trying to bring, you know, a TV to the mobile, and how we use mobile to interact across, you know, both web and TV. These are things that we're starting to be able to stitch together in ways that are relevant to users, as opposed to just, you know, gimmicks and features, right? These are things that I think are actually becoming relevant to people. Like when I show people, again, like my parents, I use them as guinea pigs during the development process. And they're, you know, first out there like, Facebook on TV, really? I don't know. And then you say, hey, well, what about if you want to see all of your photos on here? Isn't that kind of cool? You're like, yeah, I do it just for that, for sure. So it's these kinds of things that I think will be the gateway to use these kinds of applications on TV that will draw them in. They want to come in, they want to see, you know, what pictures have I posted on my son on their big screen. You know, and it's a great use case. Like I'm glad you pointed out the 55 plus segment using Facebook, because my parents, they love the technology. They just, they can't be bothered with the setup in terms of actually like buying the equipment and configuring. But boy, once they have it, and you know, the Facebook is easy to set up. Once they actually have, you know, Optik TV, and I set them up with a big 55-inch Panasonic plasma, they use it, right? So it's not like this is kind of a Star Trek scenario to most people, right? It's people often think Star Trek, and you know, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's like I'm holding a tricorder here myself.
So when is your TV commercials going to be on with Leonard Nimoy?
So pretty soon, I guess.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Is he going to be dressed like Spock himself with the ears and everything, or?
Yeah, maybe if we can go off the record for just a second. Where did you hear about this? Just so that I